Hey guys, I'm MG, and today we're going to be looking at Kingsman: The Secret Service, which is a 2014 spy action comedy film that was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who also wrote the script alongside Jane Goldman. However, we don't have time to read scripts, but we have time to review, so why don't we do that right now? Why don't we start with what everyone remembers? The action. That is amazing. There is so much tension in every single one of them. The rescue mission is interesting. The bar scene is riddled with great cinematography, editing, and choreography. The training segments are legitimately horrifying. The church is all over the place. And the climax is really engaging and makes you want to know what is going to happen next. And that is the same for the whole movie. So, great action. I also enjoyed the performances, and I am glad that actors I know are in this film, like Michael Caine, Samuel L. Jackson, and Mark Hamill, all of which were pretty good, and that's with everyone else as well. Taron Egerton was pretty funny, Colin Firth was incredibly endearing, Mark Strachan made his character incredibly realistic, and Sophia Boutella was really terrifying in her acting. Speaking of the characters, they are all really well written, except for one, but we'll get to that later. Eggsy was really likable, and I like his personality with where he is understanding and not one note at the same time, which was incredibly engaging and fitting for his character. Harry was really interesting, and every time he's on screen, the movie just connects with me more than I already was with everything else that happened on screen. And his death scene was really surprising, and clearly showed that this movie doesn't mess around with anything really. Merlin was really likable, and I enjoyed how he talked to the people he was training. It makes him feel like a real person that is trying his best to help everyone he can to become a Kingsman. Gazelle was really intimidating and threatening as a villain, and her leg blades make her an even more threat than she already was. But my favorite character out of this whole movie is Valentine. I absolutely love this villain, because in the context of a film, he is one, no doubt. But in terms of a writing, he isn't. Can't stand any sort of violence or blood, and can't even kill anyone because it makes him feel awful. And I find that an interesting character personality, because it shows both contrasts, which is pretty neat. So yeah, more villains like Valentine please, other films. The cinematography has a bunch of great and iconic shots that are not only in the action scenes, but also in every other scene. The editing was immensely sharp and flowed really well throughout the narrative. The story was really engaging from start to finish in a really satisfying way. The music heightens the tension that the action is bringing out, and it's honestly heightening everything really, not just the action. The tone is a mixed one, but it honestly fits the narrative in a really natural way. The setting is also filled to the brim with amazing production design and shots that show the setting to make the audience understand where the characters are and what they're going to do in it. This film just has so many great elements that make it stand out amongst other action films, and I understand that immensely, but it does have some flaws from being perfect. Roxy was really bland and didn't have much going for her character, outside of a good performance from Sophie Cookston, but it was pretty nice on how this film doesn't make Eggsy and Roxy fall in love, because it seems to set up their romance, but at the end, they don't have any romance at all, so pretty smart and clever writing. Plus, I do really like Eggsy, but I feel like he can be a bit douchey sometimes. Well, he's like that for the whole film, but you mostly understand why, and a couple of scenes of him being rude was a little out of character for him. The visual effects aren't the worst, but in my eyes, they looked kind of off, but it's not that bad. The movie is also a little long with 2 hours, and I think they could have made it at least 1 hour and 50 minutes. Plus, some scenes in my opinion are either really fast or slow. For example, Mark Hamill's death just happened really fast, and the training montage was a little fast as well. The climax and the church fight, as great as they are, I think they were a bit slow, but in every other scene it was fine, so not bad pacing. This film also underutilizes some of its elements, like the abusive stepdad. In fact, in the first scene we see with him, he isn't really abusive, so I prefer if that scene made it more clear on what type of character he is. Also, there's a twist about Michael Caine being interested in Valentine's plan. That was a great twist, but the movie doesn't really do anything with that twist, so that's just kind of thrown in the garbage. And that's the same with the twist about Charlie being invited to the party. That didn't go anywhere as well until the second movie, where I'll describe about how I feel about him there, since in this film, he wasn't worth mentioning if it wasn't for that twist, which was handled pretty quickly. Overall, despite some issues that hold this back from being a masterpiece, this is still a great movie with a lot of great things going for it, and I would recommend all of you to watch it. 8.7 out of 10. Goodbye everyone, and thank you for watching. Bye.